Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to isolate an aspect of the race we might look back on later as having been the path to finding the winner. Well, Saturday racing this week in Hong Kong, and the first race we're going to look at from Sha Tin is race 2, where our winning factor is the weights. And this straight 1,000-metre sprint looks like a confrontation between 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, with some nice youngsters in When You Believe, a much improved run last start, a new import for Chris So, Super Wind Dragon, and Carroll Street, an impressive winner down the straight earlier in the season. All 3-year-olds lining up against the 4-year-olds, the consistent Metro Warrior from David Hayes' yard, and John Sizer's exciting newcomer, Elon. But my focus here is on the clash between Carroll Street and Elon. Now, Elon was formerly trained in the UK by William Knight, where he won 3 of his 6 starts under the name Progressive Rating. John Sizer's given him a great foundation for his career in Hong Kong by giving him 5 barrier trials, and we're going to take a look at the most recent of those. Now, this is just April 9, so just over a week ago, and here you see him in white and red colours, pings the gates like his barrier opens early, but Joe Moreira never really has the handbrake off him in this trial. It's his natural speed that allows him to share the lead without breaking a sweat, and when they come down the home straight, he just coasts down to the line, and Moreira allows a lesser rival to head him off near the line. And just for reference, that's Amazing Chocolate, being a tourist in 5th place there, a reference for our second segment. So Elon has had a great foundation. He looks like a new horse ready to go and make his debut in Hong Kong racing. But I want to take you back to another Hong Kong racing debut. This is Carroll Street, and this is back in December. And on this occasion, in race 278, you see him in green and orange colours. He's not the best to begin, but ignored in the betting. He and trainer Douglas White have the final say here. The 3-year-old sits back. As you see on the heat map, some pressure on the leaders mid-race to help him, and he charges through the field over the final 300 metres to win by a significant and ever-widening margin. Now, subsequently, he ran well, but was beaten and performed probably well below that level before he suffered a respiratory complaint in February, missing most of that month, and that's why we haven't seen him more recently. But he comes back to racing fresh again, as he was in that victory. And when we take a look at the map for Saturday's race, I think it sets up very similarly for him. The sprint looks to be run with some decent pressure on the horses in the lead once again. In all likelihood, that's going to help soften up Elon, while Carroll Street, he'll have the luxury of sitting back off them and unleashing over the final stages as the leaders are getting tired. And not to forget, he has a pull in the handicaps as well. So the tip in race 2, Carroll Street, his winning factor, the weights. Now, as we get deeper into the season, the 3-year-olds do tend to assert themselves against older rivals, particularly Southern Hemisphere 3-year-olds like Carroll Street. So getting that 10 pounds off his major rival looks a key to the winning of this race, and I think it's going to be crucial. The other race I want to take a look at on a day when half the card is on the dirt is race 9, a Class 2 sprint, and our winning factor here, Kings of the Dirt. Now, there are not many races on this surface for the upper class horses in Hong Kong, so there's usually very good depth to them, and this one is no exception. But I think the strongest claims in the race belong to Willpower from the Douglas White yard, already a 5-time dirt winner, the very consistent Red Desert from John Sizer's yard, Kerpenny, who's been in great form over at Happy Valley lately, and Amazing Chocolate, with the Karis Teeton, Tony Millard jockey-trainer combination. And in particular, I think the race revolves around the clash of Willpower and Amazing Chocolate. And they met in a race in December, and Red Desert also appeared in that, where they fought out the finish. And we're going to take a look at the replay of that now. We go back to race 248. And in purple with yellow sleeves, Amazing Chocolate, slow out of the gates, gets a reminder from Wagner Borges here that he's in a race, while Willpower in the blue with white cap and Red Desert out wide in the dark blue colours both jump well and press forward in the early stages. Now, when the race settles down, it looks like a strong speed to the eye, but it's actually quite civilised when you analyse the times. And we find Willpower midfield too wide with Amazing Chocolate basically outside him most of the way. And when they turn into the home stretch, they settle down to a great duel, and Amazing Chocolate, despite covering that extra ground in the run, gets the better of that fight, and Red Desert, he boxes on for third placing. Now, on that occasion, as I mentioned, Wagner Borges was aboard Amazing Chocolate, Sha Tin on Willpower. But there are some changes to the jockeys in Saturday's race, with this time apprentice Jerry Chow on Willpower, and Teton jumps across to the Millard-trained Amazing Chocolate. And I think that is a crucial jockey change, especially when we take a look at one of our sub-championships here in Hong Kong, something I like to check in on now and again, and that is the Kings of the Dirt. Who's the best jockey or the most successful jockey and trainer on the dirt during the season? And since half of our races on Saturday are on the surface, might be useful to throughout the day. But let's take a look at those unofficial premierships. And while Sha Tin has yet to make a real dent in the dominance of Zach Purton and Joe Moreira in general, that isn't true on the dirt. He got close to Moreira on the surface last season and has got clear in front this term with the most wins, the best strike rate, and is also the most profitable jockey to follow on the surface when we compare him to the betting. Meanwhile, amongst the trainers, it's Tony Millard who leads across the board. Once again, most wins, best strike rate, and the most profitable to follow when we compare his performance to the expectations of the betting market under expected wins. So when they get together, you would expect that to have some significance, and you'd be absolutely right. Over last season and this, whenever you get Sha Tin riding for Tony Millard on the dirt, not only are they successful, they are wildly successful, achieving wins at more than double the expected rate according to the betting market. So certainly very profitable to follow. And when we look at the map for Saturday's race, this looks made to order for both the horses we're highlighting, Willpower and Amazing Chocolate. Both like to sit back off the speed and finish strongly, and there is an abundance of speed here that should soften up the leaders and allow these two to assert their big closing plays. But for me, the tip in race 9 has to be Amazing Chocolate. His winning factor, the Kings of the Dirt. I've got great respect for Willpower. He's certainly in there with a great chance, and I don't think there'll be a huge amount between these two, but those statistics are very, very convincing when it comes to the Teton-Millard combination, and I think that's the way that we should head in this race. Well, that's it from the winning factor for this week. Enjoy your racing Saturday. We'll see you next time.